These photographs bear witness to pain across centuries. Subscribe to History Unveiled, where we preserve the stories, textbooks left behind. Lieutenant F.G. Adams of the Hampshire Regiment, left, shows his tongue stuck to raw tissue at the injury site. Ralph Lumley of the RFC, right, displays burn injuries. Facial wounds that modern surgery was just beginning to understand. Two men carrying the visible cost of war. Wall of casts from wounded World War I soldiers' faces. Each plaster mold preserving damage before reconstruction. Rows of injuries cataloged for medical study. The gallery of shattered features waiting for repair. 1895. Woman photographed with tuberculosis of the skin, known as lupus vulgaris. Nodules appearing across her face. Before antibiotics, before treatment, when disease marked you permanently. Medicine could only document, not cure. Belfast District Lunatic Asylum, circa 1890 through 1900, which later became Belfast War Hospital. Gothic architecture, housing the mentally ill before becoming sanctuary for the physically wounded. Buildings repurposed by necessity of conflict. Henry A. Severns, Civil War veteran and amputee, stands in uniform with sword and canteen, balanced on crutches. Did you have relatives who served? Hospital, Nottingham, 1918. Chemical warfare's aftermath written on skin. Burns covering exposed flesh. The weapon that kept killing long after deployment. Young boy with one leg. Quang Ngai Province Hospital, circa 1967. Wearing plaid shirt and shorts, standing with crutch assistance. Childhood interrupted by Vietnam's violence. Probably photographed by United States government photographer. St. John's College, United States General Hospital Division II, Annapolis, Maryland. Private Philip Haddle, Company I, admitted from flag of truce steamer, died weeks later from treatment received as prisoner of war. The next image revealed atrocities that would shock the world. Clandestine photograph of mutilated leg belonging to Polish political prisoner Bogumila Babinska-Dabrowska at Ravensbrück concentration camp. Evidence smuggled out at enormous risk. Documentation of Nazi medical experiments hidden in fabric, carried in secret. Female patient restrained in straitjacket, sits alone on bench crying. Mental institution, Youngstown, Ohio, 1946. Isolation as treatment, restraint as care. Peter, also known as Gordon or Whip Peter, escaped American slave whose scarred back became evidence of slavery's brutality. The scourge back photograph circulated widely during the abolitionist movement. Keloid scars mapping years of whippings. One image that changed minds about the peculiar institution. For young survivors at Buchenwald concentration camp. Hollow eyes staring into liberation. Children who witnessed industrialized death. Faces too young to carry such ancient grief. International Voluntary Services photograph from Mennonite Church Archives, Goshen, Indiana. Relief workers documenting humanitarian efforts. Faith communities responding to global suffering. Buchenwald survivor displays tattooed arm. Though concentration camp prisoners received tattoos only at Auschwitz, not Buchenwald. According to Holocaust Encyclopedia, the numbered forearm becoming symbol of systematic dehumanization. Soldiers wounded in Battle of Peleliu recuperate at Guadalcanal Hospital. Lower right, Private First Class Marcel Baldinger of the 3 Battalion, 5th Marines, 1st Marine Division, bandage covering head wound. Island warfare's casualties, filling Pacific Field hospitals. 1908, demonstration of execution at Auburn State Prison, New York. Electric chair replacing gallows. Modern death delivered through current instead of rope. Progress measured in methods of killing. Capital punishment methods evolved dramatically over time. Florida convicts lease to harvest timber, circa 1903. Chain gang of young African-American prisoners performing forced labor. Southern states offsetting prison costs through convict bodies. Practice continuing until the 50s. Wesley, Stanislaus County, California. Migratory labor camp from Farm Security Administration. Temporary shelter for displaced agricultural workers. The Dust Bowl generation following harvests across California valleys. 23 boys at Crumpsall Workhouse, circa 1895 through 97. Orphaned and impoverished children institutionalized together. Victorian England warehousing its poorest youth. Childhood shaped by deprivation. Antietam, September 17, 1862. Confederate dead lie before Dunker Church. Soldiers and horse sprawled beside overturned caisson. White building and fence framed the carnage. America's bloodiest single day captured in stark reality. Bloody Lane earned its name this day. Sunken road at Antietam after General D.H. Hill's Confederate troops endured relentless assaults and crossfire from multiple Union divisions. Bodies filling the depression like a trench of the dead. Some of you may have ancestors who fought here. Ebensee concentration camp, Austria. Starved prisoners, barely alive. Photographed after liberation by 80th Division. Subcamp of Mauthausen reportedly used for experiments masked as science. Skeletons with eyes that still saw their rescue. Deck of French cruiser, 1915. Armenian refugees rescued during Ottoman Empire's systematic massacre. Genocide survivors crowding the ship that carried them from extermination. Faces marked by what they witnessed, what they escaped. The Nazis would later study this genocide as a blueprint. Przemysłowa Street, German-occupied Lodz. Camp for Polish children during the occupation. Nazi overseer commanding imprisoned youth. Kinderkz, where childhood itself became crime. Germany erasing the next generation. Buchenwald concentration camp, April 1945. Emaciated prisoners in barracks after Third Army liberation. Men reduced to walking bones stacked in wooden bunks. Living barely distinguishable from dead. Stalingrad winter, 1942 through 43. German soldiers frozen to death where they fell. Russian cold accomplishing what bullets could not. Bodies preserved in ice. Eternal monuments to failed invasion. Walter H. Horn's triple execution series. 3 condemned prisoners hanged for allegedly stealing military supplies. Side by side, lifeless. Summary justice documented without mercy or explanation. Military law during wartime was absolute. Republican soldiers rest in France, January 31st, 1939, defying Franco with communist salute. Exhausted men still raising fists in resistance. Spanish Civil War refugees, carrying their lost cause into exile. Photograph now preserved in Rijksmuseum, Amsterdam. Tuol Sleng Security Prison, Cambodia. Mother holding baby. Photographed before execution by Khmer Rouge between 1976 and 79. Torture and Execution Center, where this mother and child became statistics in Cambodian genocide. Over 17,000 died at S-21. The Khmer Rouge documented their own atrocities with meticulous records. Hiroshima Hibakusha survivor. Nuclear burns creating pattern across her skin, matching the kimono worn at the moment of atomic flash. Fabric design permanently burned into flesh. The bomb's signature written on those who lived. Inside institutions where treatment and confinement blurred together. West Riding Lunatic Asylum, Wakefield, Yorkshire. Elderly man wearing checkered uniform strapped into restraint chair. Photograph attributed to Henry Clark. Victorian Psychiatry, Studley Park Lunatic Asylum, Melbourne, 1870 through 75. American and Australasian Photographic Company documented the Gothic architecture housing mentally ill patients. Australia warehousing its troubled citizens behind imposing stone walls, far from public view. Massachusetts General Hospital, Boston, July 3, 1847. Historic daguerreotype of early ether operation by Southworth and Hawes. Surgeons John Collins Warren, Jonathan Mason Warren, and Henry Jacob Bigelow performing procedure. Dawn of painless surgery captured in silver. Imagined surgery before anesthesia. Porirua Hospital training session, 1956. Nurses restraining patient during electroconvulsive therapy demonstration. Actually a nurse playing the role. ECT administered without anesthetic or muscle relaxants at that time. Later reformed with sedation, though remaining controversial into the 21st century. Lieutenant Colonel G.G.S. Archer's photograph collection. Albums documenting surgery division at Stationary Hospital in Rouen and field ambulance during First World War. Medical Corps treating endless wounded. Battlefield medicine evolving through terrible necessity. Pennsylvania Hospital for Mental and Nervous Diseases, 44th and Market Streets, Philadelphia. First floor waiting room with fireplace on south wall. Elegant architecture masking institutional confinement. The genteel facade of psychiatric warehouse. National Museum of Health and Medicine. Man with polio encased in iron lung, visiting with family gathered close. Metal cylinder breathing for him, while loved ones touch what they can reach. Connection maintained through machinery and determination. Before the vaccine, entire hospital wings filled with these machines. Stannington Sanatorium, Morpeth, Northumberland. Britain's first sanatorium for tuberculosis children. Senior girls photographed as surgical cases. Young patients recovering from operations meant to collapse diseased lungs. Childhood measured in hospital beds and procedures. Auschwitz Block 10. Nazi physician Karl Clauberg photographed between 1941 and 44. Performed medical experiments on prisoners without consent or mercy. Torture disguised as research. The Holocaust medical butchers working under clinical pretense. Dachau concentration camp, Germany, 1944. Romani victim of Nazi experiments attempting to make seawater drinkable. Forced to consume only seawater until his body failed. Genocide conducted through pseudoscientific cruelty. These crimes led to modern medical ethics laws. Nurse with patients, location unknown. Care given in era when treatments remained limited and outcomes uncertain. Compassion offered where medicine could only comfort, not cure. University of Pennsylvania Medical School. First-year students in dissecting room of laboratory building. Young physicians learning anatomy through cadaver study. Death teaching the living how to preserve life. Battle of Bataan, January through April 1942. American and Filipino medical workers, with Red Cross personnel treating wounded near front lines. Makeshift hospital wards established in jungle clearings. Fighting exhaustion, disease. Death while saving soldiers under fire. 1914. Archduke Franz Ferdinand and his wife Sophia during their final visit. Hours later, bullets would ignite a world war. The arrest of Gavrilo Princip. The assassin captured moments after firing the shots heard around the world. Gavrilo Princip, 19 years old. Too young for execution. He survived failed suicide attempts. Tuberculosis claimed him in Terezin Fortress, April 1918. For years after the murder, that changed everything. Munich, August 2, 1914. A young Adolf Hitler stands in the crowd at Feldherrenhall. Germany declares war on Russia. One face among thousands, captured by Heinrich Hoffmann. Berlin, August 1, 1914. A German officer reads the Kaiser's mobilization order. The crowd listens in silence. Within hours, Germany invades Luxembourg. Guerre de Paris-Est, August 2, 1914. Mobilized French soldiers board trains bound for the front. Families wave goodbye. Many would never return. Russian troops entrench during the invasion of East Prussia. The Eastern Front awakens. Winter approaches. The armies march toward collision. August 16, 1914. Soldiers of the 11th Hussars Regiment arrive at Le Havre aboard ship. Britain's expeditionary force lands in France. Belgian troops defend a suburb of Herstal, northeast of Liège. The first line of resistance against German invasion. Termonde, September 18, 1914. Belgian rear guard takes aim from a railway bridge. Engineers prepare demolition to slow the German advance. Belgian refugees flee through northern France, carrying what remains of